man.
Yes, very much for sure. Yeah, so photo sharing discussion number 205. What is this? August 27th, 2017. We are last one of August, I guess. So there won't be one next week. Next week we're going to be out of town. Oh, and speaking of, since I got you guys on, would either of you guys like if I were to come up with anything unusual from Three Floyds Brewery? We're going up. I'm going to be up at Three Floyds on Thursday. Three Floyds Brew Pub. And I'm sure they have some stuff up there. And I'm going to be in a vehicle, so I can buy a case.
Oh.
Yeah. So
one thing I've had from them is the Alpha King, which it lived up to the hype.
Yeah, I've had the Gumball Head, and have I had? I don't think so. But they have like a rotating list of to-go stuff. You know, it just depends what's available when you get up there. And it looks like they've got some IPAs and I think a milk stout and something else maybe. So I'm probably just going to end up like buying a bunch. So I'll let you guys know what I have.
Yeah, I mean,
you guys
just get up there and go crazy, really.
I've got the whole hatchback of Pam's car, so it's probably going to be full of beer, which is not a bad thing. Hey, Dennis.
How you doing, guys? All right.
Excellent.
Good. I'll see you survive the eclipse.
Yeah, I still have my vision and everything. And we'll talk about that. But yeah, I mean, literally, it was one of the most awe-inspiring, amazing things I've ever seen in my life. So it was definitely worth it. Took a little bit of effort to get back from the thing, but
well, that's what everybody's saying right now.
Man, I don't know. I mean, I heard there were like 2 million people in Nashville. I mean, just Nashville was like the huge city that everybody just descended on because it was right in the path. And the area, far northeast corner of Georgia we went to, little towns and 2-lane roads, and they figured there was a couple 100,000 people that went up there. So,
yeah, wasn't another? I think some people went to like Oregon, I think, and then some people.
It came across Oregon and it went through like Casper, Wyoming, which was a pretty popular place. My
another big one.
Sister-in-law, who lives in Fort Collins, said, "Oh, it was just crazy early in the morning. Everybody going north on I-25 trying to get up to Casper." She said it was like gridlock at Fort Collins, going north.
I bet. Yeah.
And
then coming back.
Kansas City, going back was probably hellacious too. And then Kansas City was another city I think that was kind of in the path. Then Nashville. And then the next big city was Charleston, I guess, was kind of in the path too. So it was definitely good though. But yeah, that's over. We have to wait until 2024, I guess, for the next one.
According to our news over here, it's raining a lot in Texas, isn't it?
They are getting. Have you guys watched that? They have gotten like 30 inches of rain in Houston, something like that. I mean,
oh really?
They get like 50 inches of rain a year, and so they're thinking they're going to get almost that much in 4 days. It's just everything is underwater. Yeah, they're getting just absolutely pummeled. I mean, just so much water.
Our news just now, Mark, said that they had 24 inches in 24 hours.
Yep, and it's supposed to stick around for another 2 to 3 days. So, yeah, they could be. They said all the interstates. I just saw all the interstates going through Houston are underwater at some point. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. Just epic proportions of rain. Major flooding. Yeah. So thoughts go out to everybody there because there is. I mean, I've got some family in the general area there. We've got a cousin that owns a restaurant kind of along down in that area, and I'm sure it's probably underwater at this point.
It was just last year they had pretty serious flooding.
Yeah, they had a bunch of floods last year, but this year is, so much more worse, I guess. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. So yeah, hopefully everybody makes it through. But yeah, I mean, there's just so much water. I mean, feet. When you get rain in feet, it's never a good thing. Yeah. That's crazy. So we're in the end of August here. The big photographic thing, obviously, last week was the eclipse. I guess they said it was the probably the most photographed and most observed eclipse ever, just because of the path it took and how many people were. Pretty much anybody in the lower 48 was at least able to see parts of the eclipse. So, but then the path of totality crossed over so much of the country that they said that there were so many. So many people that were actually able to be in the path of totality to see it. So, I was looking a little bit at some of the images, obviously some spectacular images that were taken. I mean, just absolutely heck of a lot better than anything I could have taken. I mean, there were some guys at the viewing event we went to that were, set up. They had some, nice equatorial mounts so that would track the sun, so they didn't have to worry about repositioning. They just line it up and it would automatically track. One guy had I think it was a 70D, so a Canon 70D with a white, with a white lens. I think it was the 400. I think it was a 400 lens, and he had it hooked up to his iPad with live view and everything, and tracking, and he was
nice.
He was doing a time lapse. I guess he was going to do a time lapse starting, whenever it started, and kind of put everything together. So there's some spectacular.
Yeah, Mark, how long was it actually dark?
2 minutes and 38 seconds.
Yeah, that's a long time. Yeah.
Yes.
I guess the next one's going to be even longer.
Yeah, the next one, the totality, if you're in the path of totality for the next one, it's going to be it's over 3 minutes for almost all of the country. So it's even going to be longer. But yeah, it was, that was the first time I'd really paid attention to an eclipse. I mean, the last big one that I saw was probably back in 1979, whatever that was. And we were able to see, we got 75% or something in Pittsburgh, where I was at the time. But I remember looking at it, but, not being particularly, totally enamored with it or anything. But this one, we were able to watch it all the way through, from the very first little bit of the moon encroaching on the, on the sun, all the way through, and all the way up to totality. We're like, oh, this is awesome. This is really cool. And then it went into totality, and we're like, that was cool, but this is cooler. It was just completely, it was awe-inspiring, really. I mean, just the way the light changed, how everything looked. The moon took on almost like a 3D effect. Like a big black sphere just kind of hanging there. The birds stopped chirping. The crickets came out. The frogs started. The crickets came out. The temperature dropped 5 or 6 degrees. The wind died. There was a 360-degree twilight around you, but where you were, it was dark. So you're able to look around on the horizon and see twilight all the way around. And it was just, it was just pretty incredible. So there's obviously lots of great images taken of that. Maybe we can go through it. I pulled up some of them on Flickr. But outside of that, anybody do any photography? I think you did some stuff, Wes. You visited a couple state parks or something.
Yeah, I just went down to Ocala yesterday, just just get out of town kind of thing, and went to Silver Springs real quick.
Okay. Now you did some. I saw you post an eclipse picture. Did you post that to the group? You did that one on Facebook, the shadows or whatever.
Oh yeah, that was just on Facebook.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Took an afternoon break from work and went outside and watched it. And
Yep.
Some people had some extra glasses, so I actually got to look at it and stuff. So
Okay.
It was cool.
What was it down there? Was it like 75%, something like that?
87%.
87. Okay, that's still pretty significant.
Yeah, it got pretty thin.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't dark like what you got, but
Yeah.
it was cool.
Now, what was interesting was I thought that it would get dark sooner, but it really didn't get noticeably dark as far as the light level dropping until the sun was 90% covered. I mean, it was just kind of interesting. We're like, okay, it's going to get, and no, it didn't really get noticeably darker. But once it got to like 90%, that type of thing, then the light levels started dropping a little bit. So that was kind of interesting. But yeah, it was.
If it hadn't been right at the beginning of the school year, I would have gone somewhere to see it. But I'm not able to take off any time right now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, school started what, this week for you guys? Is that when everybody?
Yeah, that was the first day of school is when the eclipse was.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
You're not letting earning a living get in the way of your photography, are you, Wes?
Well, it's kind of unfortunate, but yeah, it's either keep my job or go see an eclipse.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I ended up doing some work on the way back because it was so slow. I mean, it took us about 2 hours to get up there in the morning, and it took us 6.5 hours to get back at night afterwards. So there was a lot of bumper-to-bumper traffic, and so I was able to check emails, answer emails, do all this stuff, just sitting in traffic. So I got some work done on the way back. But yeah, it was definitely crazy. How about you, Dennis? Any photography? Did you get through some of that film this week?
No, this week I've been helping a friend do some wiring on his house. So I didn't have much time at all. Although the weather's got quite nice here.
Okay, good.
It was about 80 degrees today. So
wow, that's warm for you guys, isn't it?
Yeah. And they reckon tomorrow, if it goes over 28 degrees Celsius, then it's going to be the hottest bank holiday. It's a national holiday tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They said it'd be the record, the hottest.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, August bank holiday on record.
Cool. So everybody's got a 3-day weekend. So everybody's taking off and enjoying the longer weekend. Okay. Good. Yeah. Well, this is the eclipse was a big thing. I'm getting ready for the. We're taking off this week. We're taking off Wednesday. We're going to go drive up to Chicago and visit some friends and spend some time up there. But I'm gonna talk about that. We're going to stop at this place, Columbus, Indiana, which I've heard interesting things about, but I don't know what to expect. It's a little town south of Indianapolis, and I guess it's the home of Cummins. Joe, Cummins Diesel.
Oh, okay.
Is in Columbus, but because of that, all the money that everything from the family, it's this little town of like 30,000 people, but they supposedly have some of the neatest modern architecture of anywhere in the country. It is just because of all these modern architects have built all kinds of buildings and that type of stuff. So we're gonna drive there and try to get there relatively early in the day on mid-afternoon, and then spend the afternoon, evening, and part of the next morning there. And I'm going to see, I've taken a large format camera, so maybe I can do some architecture photography. So
that'll be good.
But I've been a little lax. I haven't really researched too much yet, so I guess I have to do some of that. There's a lot of stuff there, I guess, but I need to investigate. But it looks like there's a couple cool churches, a library, and a couple government buildings that are supposed to be pretty unique. So I'm going to take some black and white and some color. So I'll have I don't know how many sheets, whatever I got left. I think I've got 5 or 6 sheets of Ektar left in a box, and 10 or 12 sheets of black and white. So I'm gonna take that with us and see if I can do a few sheets of large format there. The idea of doing large format at the eclipse totally fell apart, and I'm 100% glad. I'm 100% happy that I didn't even mess with it, because digital was all I could do to get a decent shot digital, and a lot of it was because of the there was a high thin layer of clouds that kind of got in there, and we thought for a while that we were going to miss totality because of cloud cover, but the clouds broke, and the last 10 minutes before totality, and 10 minutes after that stayed pretty clear, but there was still that little veil of clouds right in front of it. It didn't block out seeing anything, but it the images weren't near as sharp as they could have been, and I didn't spend too much time trying to refocus and adjust things. I was like, it's set up, it's close enough. I'm just going to watch, and I'm going to push the shutter button a few times and see what I get. Right. But I would have been totally frustrated and probably pissed off and angry at the world if I would have tried to do anything with a large format camera. So I didn't see anybody with film cameras. I saw a lot of very advanced digital setups and telescopes and all that type of stuff. So I definitely would have been the oddity. Well, I am an oddity, but I would have really been an oddity.
Yeah, you have to accept that part. Yeah,
just the way I am.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, let me jump in here. I was looking as we're talking here. I was looking at. I'm going to share a screen. I don't know if you guys have looked at some of the images of the eclipse, but I'm just on Flickr. I'm just kind of going through and taking a look at this from all different spots. But like this one here, this is very cool. I really like that. The corona and all the different waves and bands coming out. We were able to see this with the naked eye, but I couldn't photograph it. It just didn't. The clouds just didn't work. But yeah, that was the cool thing about it when it hit, the way the corona just kind of popped out from behind the sun. But yeah, there's some neat ones here. Guys did lots of time lapses, and it looks like there's some very creative. Oh, here's one. This is kind of like the one you did, right? Is this you? No, that's kind of what you had, wasn't it, Wes? You find something similar to that? Yeah. Yeah. Which is what? Just shadows from going through the shadows of the eclipse going through like a tree or something like that?
Yeah, just trees. Anywhere there was a tree, that was just, it was covered in those little ellipses like that.
Yeah. Pam went, there was a tree nearby us, and she went at about, it was about 75 or 80% covered, and she couldn't see anything, but I think it was more because of the clouds. The clouds were kind of obscuring things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
There was one I saw, maybe it was in like Sky and Telescope of the International Space Station in front of the eclipse.
I saw that one.
So they're able to zoom in and actually see the space station, the outline of the space station up there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh,
it's like the greatest photo bomb ever or something, I think they called it.
Yeah. ISIS eclipse. No. I'm sure this will. Yeah, there it is. ISS eclipse photo. Oh, and there's a photo fake, but I bet this is it. This one. You see that? That little little dot there? That's supposedly the space station in front. So they're zoomed way in, which I could imagine.
Yeah, you'd have had to zoom. I mean, it's barely even noticeable.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big lens and then extremely crop. But there's the space station. So
yeah, because zoomed out, you'd have just thought it was a sunspot or something.
Yeah, exactly. But you can see there's the center and the two sets of solar panels. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Well,
they said as bad as Jesus on toast, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they really look.
Jesus on toast, and I found the space station on the eclipse.
I am surprised someone didn't make an eclipse with Jesus on it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure they did somewhere. But yeah, it was. They said Elvis. If you were in the space station, you would see 3 eclipses. You would see 3 eclipses, I guess. If you're in the space station, you'd see it 3 different times.
Well, how would that work?
By going around the Earth and seeing it at different spots. So you would leave the path and you would come around again, and you would see it at a different spot. So I guess you would see it.
It seems like you wouldn't even see it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you got to be on Earth to get the shadow.
But I guess you would see. Would you see the moon be? You would see the sun behind the moon, I guess.
I'm thinking maybe you would see it.
Or could you see the shadow on the Earth? Yeah, you might be able to do that. I mean, because it's a 70-mile wide shadow.
Because you're not even in its. You're getting your own eclipses space, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I would imagine you're seeing it, the moon shadow on the Earth. Like that would have been cool. Yeah. And like to see the eclipse from the space station on the Earth, like what the planet looked like.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that was an opportunity missed right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I need. Well, there was. What did I hear about? In Alaska Airlines, they charted it or whatever, and they flew out as far as they could to get it when it first contacted, like I don't know, the continent or whatever. And they suppose they got some really cool shots from like 45,000 feet in the air. They flew up as high as they could and way out. But yeah, I mean, you could see the shadow. I would imagine you could see the shadow on Earth because it's 70 miles wide. I mean, that's basically the zone that if you're in that shadow, that's where you saw totality. So
I'm surprised they didn't show images, you know, because they do. Hell, they can track us right now from the satellite. You know what I'm saying? I'm surprised they didn't show images of the eclipse moving over the Earth, over the country.
Yeah, there probably is. Cool. There probably is a video, like a time-lapse video.
Yeah, that would be cool, actually. I would actually love to see that. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be, am I the only one that thinks that's...
Oh, yeah, no, that would be... Let's just see. Google knows everything. Time-lapse of eclipse over U.S.
Yeah, over the Earth or something, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it just seems like, hey, that'd be kind of cooler than seeing the same... eclipse photo, you know, 100 million times.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that. Yeah, you would think that would be something they could take from like one of the satellites.
I had some models get that were with photographers and got insanely creative with their eclipse photo.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Lots of like them touching it and stuff like that, you know, and doing their little poses and everything at the same time. So it was
like they have the sun in their hand type.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, like so lots of that sort of thing. That, you know, kind of cool. You got to do something because it's like shooting the Eiffel Tower, for Christ's sake. Like you know what I'm saying? You're like, oh, okay, another picture of the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Everybody's seen that a million times, so you got to find something unique about it. Yeah,
it's kind of like your first time going in a cave. And everyone's like, if you're going with the whole group and nobody's been in a cave before, like if you know, Carlsbad Caverns, if you're in New Mexico, you go to Carlsbad Caverns and you're like, oh, this is so cool. This is so cool. And it's the coolest thing ever, you know what I'm saying, for like 15 minutes. And then you're just like, get me out of here. You know what I'm saying? How many, you know what I'm saying? So it's cool, but you know, everybody's basically got this, especially if you were in totality, everyone's got the same photo. So
yeah,
like, how do you shoot the Eiffel Tower differently? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of the way I was. I was like, hey, if I get some images of totality, that's great. But the real image is going to be the one that's kind of burned into my brain just by experiencing it. You know, taking the time, looking around, watching other people's reactions was really cool. You know, it was just that was just neat. It was like there were so many people at the viewing event, and you know, when it went into totality, they announced, okay, you can take your glasses off, and you can just kind of hear it as people took their glasses off. They're like, oh, wow.
Yeah, you know, and I think that's what some people forget. You're so busy doing this. You know, one thing with photography is they teach you to look around.
Yep.
You know, look around, and you know, you're like, okay, how can we do this differently? Well, you're not going to get that any differently than 100 million other people are. So you get crowd reactions, maybe the shadow going over a crowd. You know what I'm saying? Just you got to really be different. And some of those photos I find interesting with the crowd.
Yeah, there was one I saw. Maybe it was like on Sky and Telescope magazine, but they had one of like everybody at University of Southern Illinois, which is in Carbondale, Illinois, which is where the totality was. They had all the people in the football stadium for a viewing event. And it was a photo of the crowd of totality. And you just saw everybody kind of looking up, you know, with their iPhones and all that stuff, just kind of like totally amazed at what was going on. So yeah, that kind of thing. But yeah, that was one of the more interesting things, was just looking around and seeing what everybody else was doing, you know, kind of the expressions on their faces, the way they were looking at things, and yeah, that was definitely fun. So let's see here. Any new equipment bought? Anybody buy any new equipment this week? I've got a broken equipment story that I just figured out before I hit go here, which is kind of depressing. So hopefully somebody bought some new equipment to make me feel better. No?
I didn't buy anything. I'm for our trip, I've got equipment I'm still shopping to buy, but I haven't hit the go button anyway, because I'm trying to figure out a way we can, you know, live stream something. You know what I'm saying? So
that new iPhone's going to be out in a month, right?
Oh, dude, this is what sucks, right? Because I'm like, I don't think it's gonna. I don't think I can have it in my hand by the time we go on the trip.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's gonna be mid to end of September when they announce it, which means you won't get it till mid to end of October probably.
Yeah, and
by the time you order it. Yeah.
So I'm actually I don't know if Wes can throw anything into this, but I'm actually looking into a Chromebook.
Okay.
Because I was gonna get an iPad, and then I was like, okay, and then the phone's gonna be out. I'm gonna need cash for that, and it's gonna be, I don't know, $2.5 million for this new iPhone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The iPhone is gonna be a majority of the cost of this beautiful 5K iMac I've got, for Christ's sake. Like
the new one, yeah, they're saying it's gonna be $1,200 or something. Is that what I heard?
It's crazy for a phone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's just.
It better be damn good.
It better be. The iPad Pro is like almost like, you know, you're
it's $900. You can get it for $895 or something. Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
It's a 12-inch, and it's a 12-inch screen with you can get the pen. You can even get the pen and be under $1,100, right? The pencil or whatever they call it.
You can go certified refurbished, for Christ's sake, and get an iPad Pro cheaper than you can the new iPhone. It's insane. You know, but I started down that whole rabbit hole, right? So it's landed me, I think, on a Chromebook. I think I'm going to end up getting a Chromebook.
Okay.
Man, I've seen.
Now the question is, if you want to do a live stream, you're going to have to depend on either cellular or Wi-Fi.
Right.
And a Chromebook doesn't do cellular.
Yeah, they have some.
Oh, they do? A Chromebook where you can actually put in a SIM for like Verizon or AT&T or something?
There's a Toshiba that literally out of the box has 3G.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
I did not realize either. Trust me, I am Googled and Amazoned up to here, and YouTube. No, I'm YouTubed and Amazoned up to here right now, because that's literally all I've been doing this whole weekend.
Wow.
Research.
I didn't even know that. So yeah, you had did you have an old MacBook or something that fried or
I've
finally
got
kicked? Or
you know what's hilarious is my MacBook Pro. My old, man, they're both old. I have a MacBook Pro and I have a black. It might still be an iBook, for Christ's sake, like
from like 2005.
Whatever, yeah. And you know what? Believe it, out of the two, my MacBook Pro is from 2008 or 9.
Okay.
And that one's not working. The old black one is still working, believe it or not. But you have to keep it connected to the power cord in order for it.
Oh, okay. So the battery doesn't hold a charge anymore. Yeah.
And some of these new Chromebooks have me interested, man, because the price is right. Like for $250, $259, I can get a pretty decent one, and they like fold all the way around. You can write on them like a tablet. And still, they're thin, light. You know,
the only thing with the Chromebook is you have to like Chrome, which you do, and so you have to live in that ecosystem. So either on the web,
living in it right now,
web-based apps, or Chrome. So you're not going to be
thinking like, what else am I going to do with it? You know, to tell you the truth, I'm like, you know what? If I'm not on YouTube or streaming something, I mean, it's pretty much what I do. You know what I'm saying?
Other than editing, which you're not going to do on a Chromebook.
I'm not going to do it on there anyway.
Serious editing, you might do some touch up through a Chrome app.
I figured it's cheap enough where, you know, and then with it folding all the way over, and you can use it like a tablet and write on it and stuff.
Yeah.
So it has touch. And I'm like, and then there's even a Windows device that's like $350, where it's an actual real computer. You know, 1 terabyte hard drive. You know, all those sorts of things, and that's like $350. They've gotten some lower end.
The Surface, is that what you're talking about? Like the Surface?
It's not a Surface, but it's just a real low end laptop. To kind of keep up with the Chromebooks. So you know, because some people need a little more functionality than just
they need to use Outlook or something like that.
Right,
yeah.
But they don't need. You know, they don't need much more. They need to put apps that they can use. I think that's the big deal. Is what I'm seeing is some people actually need to run real apps. And you know, some of these Chromebooks actually have some serious power. Some of them are expandable, so you can, you know, put. I don't know. Sorry, man. I don't mean to take over the show.
That's interesting. I mean, the now is it going to have as good a camera as the iPhone?
Probably not, but I mean, it would be something. I mean, look at the streaming quality on these things anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
for like Hangouts and that type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I would be doing is signing on, right? And if I'm able to fold it over in a 11 or 12-inch Chromebook, if I'm able to fold it over like a tablet, it looks like any other tablet. Well, kind of like an iPad Pro.
Yep.
But still, I could carry it in a backpack easy enough, and
Yep.
I don't know. Still thinking it. Have a few more weeks here to figure it out.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that's interesting. That's interesting. I think all I'm going to bring is I think just my phone, and I was going to bring my little camera. That kind of brings me to the sad part here.
No.
Yeah, my little Canon S100, which I got 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago. The memory card fits in here. It's kind of like a battery and then the memory card. The memory card won't fit in there anymore, so I don't know if the little spring broke. It'll go in, but it won't go all the way in and lock.
Oh.
So I'm wondering if the mechanism, it's supposed to go all the way in and then push it down, and it's supposed to lock, and it's not doing that.
Oh, that's got to be something simple then that you just can't see in there.
I'm hoping. So I took my my little rocket the little blower, whatever, and first I tapped the camera and nothing came out, and then I took the little rocket blower and little mini compressed air or whatever in there, and nothing came out. So yeah, I've got to
shine a light in there to see if you can see anything. Or
I haven't done that yet. I don't have a flashlight with me up here, but yeah, that'll be the next thing to see if something's like disconnected or something. But yeah, it's not. If I can't put a memory card in, then I can't take photos, so I'm kind of bummed about that.
Like you might be able to take 4. I don't know if that's worth taking it for the whole trip, for
No.
photos.
Although, and I was thinking about it, I was like, yeah, this is a great little camera. And I mean, it shoots in RAW, and it does great image quality. But the reality is, in bright daylight, the camera on my phone does 95% of what this does.
That's the truth.
If I put this on aperture priority or whatever, I get 95% of the quality off my phone as I do with this. Yep. This would be obviously better and give me more creative control. But if I'm just like walking around downtown Chicago, snapping pictures of buildings and people, my phone's going to be 95% of what this is. So.
Yeah, Mark, if that's 4 years old, wouldn't the manufacturers want it back? Because obviously the self-destruct should have operated about 2 years.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. Maybe I'll write Canon and say, hey, your phone, the camera broke. Can I get my money back now? You want it back?
Yeah, they want to know why it lasted so long.
Yeah. I don't know. I got this in August of 2013, so it's almost exactly 4 years old right now. So
yeah, this is the big downfall of electronics, boys.
Yep.
Yeah. It's inevitable that in the end something's going to break.
Yeah.
Well, Dennis, what's going to happen is as soon as they announce the new iPhone, mine will screw up. So yeah, that's how that works.
Well, they're going to send out a self-destruct command on all lesser models.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The next update will brick your phone. Yep.
Yeah. Well, that brings up an interesting point. We were at the Eclipse viewing event, and it comes up. It was like maybe half an hour before the eclipse started, so like 1:45 or something like that. Here comes a lady and her boyfriend or husband or whatever are walking up, and she's like, "Oh, can I sit up next to you? I had my tripod and the camera and with the filter and everything." And she had a super zoom digital camera. She goes, "I'm going to go ahead and take pictures." And we're like, "Do you have a filter for that?" She goes, "Oh, I'll just set it on the sensor to ignore or something, and it won't hurt it." I'm like, I don't think so. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah, you might get a few shots, but my guess is it'll, if you keep photographing the sun before it's totally eclipsed, you're not going to be happy.
You're going to get a total whiteout on your camera.
And then she looks at her companion and goes, "I told you this wasn't going to work this way." And I'm like, oh. So she just set it up on a tripod and got it, and then she put it in video mode when it went in totality, So she got a video of the totality, but she was all bummed that she couldn't photograph the sun directly with her camera. I'm like, you can, but you might not get too many shots before your camera blows out.
You're gonna get a few great ones, and after that, it's just gonna be white. You know.
But I saw people like down the hill just holding up their iPhones to the, you know, as it was like half covered, you know, and photographing. I'm like, oh, there's a replacement cost, you know, going in. But there were a couple people that took their solar, you know, their eclipse glasses, and they were holding it in front of the camera lens, you know, so they were holding up the phone and doing it that way, and that worked. But yeah, I did see some people that I couldn't stop from destroying their phones. But yeah, I saw people holding up the phones to the halfway eclipsed sun and without anything in front of it, you know, just snapping away with their glasses on.
Did you happen to see anybody with a messed up device? Did you happen to see that?
No, I didn't see any of the. I didn't see any tears or people going, "What the hell? How come this doesn't work anymore?"
Yeah,
but maybe I didn't really want to, you know, because I kind of felt bad for people, but there were thousands of people, and they didn't announce it. That's what was amazing. They announced it once at like noon, so an hour before the eclipse began. You must have a filter to photograph the eclipse, but they didn't announce it right as it was coming, you know.
No, because I heard, you know, people that were being interviewed. There was even people being interviewed on the sports podcast that I listened to, from like the Weather Channel and everything, and they were giving all these warnings about your eyeballs.
But not about your cameras.
But not about putting anything over the lens. They were just kind of like, you know, yeah, you can take pictures, I think. Like even the serious weather people weren't really knowledgeable about sensors.
So yeah, I think it was a big conspiracy. All the equipment manufacturers paid off all the media not to say anything, so they knew they had a lot of upgrades. Since the new iPhone's coming out, and the Samsung released the Galaxy Note, the new Galaxy Note came out. I think they announced that over the weekend or something. So
Icon announced a new camera.
So yeah, it was all this big conspiracy. It was promoted by the same people that faked the moon landing. I think that's
there you go. In the same studio.
Yep, same studio. Yep. So yeah, I'm sure there were some people that out of the thousands of people that were at the place I was, I'm sure there were some people that were unhappy that their phones wouldn't take any pictures the next day. So, and I'm sure that happened all over the place.
Are you sure you was actually at the eclipse and it wasn't NASA bringing this big disc across the front of the sun?
Yeah, I can't. You never know. You never know. They got this giant thing that they flew from Area 51, and it just flew across.
It could have all been fake.
And the next thing you know, hey, you know, this December we're actually going to see Santa. You know,
NORAD. NORAD's going to track Santa. Yeah.
He's actually going to fly in the sky.
Oh man. So yeah, I'm sure there were some people that were highly disappointed with the.
Are you sure that was the space station on that picture then? Because that could have been Santa.
It might have been, yeah. Doing a trial run, just going to get a good view of the eclipse. Him and Rudolph wanting to hang out.
I finally saw that movie. What's it called? Martian? Yeah, I finally saw that.
Oh,
movie.
The Martian, the one with Matt Damon?
Yeah.
What did you think? Did you like it?
I actually liked it. I didn't think I would. I had this whole idea in my head of what I thought it was, and it was actually, I thought, pretty decent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I really enjoyed that movie. But I'm a huge science fiction kind of science technology geek thing. But that was pretty good.
Was that science fiction then? 'Cause I thought that was real.
It was science fiction, but the guy based it on we have all the technology pretty much to do everything that they did in the movie. We just haven't employed it in the way that it was employed.
What I liked is that it relates a lot to my life, actually. It deals with, that's how I related to it, not really as science fiction, but as to how humans live alone and, live a solitary life like that. And I'm like, well, damn, there's millions of us. We're called truck drivers. Like we're that alone all the time. I mean, that's pretty much my life.
Actually, that's right. That was a big theme of the movie was how did he deal with being alone and doing getting creative and doing all that stuff. So
yeah, I've never been the same, Joe, since I found out that Star Trek's not real.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Say it isn't so.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Oh man. Next year we say Santa Claus isn't real, Dennis. Come on.
I know.
Santa Claus definitely were real. I worked for him for 20 years.
I get a pension from the guy. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I work with these little guys who make all the toys.
Yeah. Oh man.
I suppose you're going to tell me the workshop's not real at the North Pole.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, don't ruin things.
Yeah. I hope no kids are watching this.
Yeah, Dennis is a real buzzkill today, man.
Yeah, it's just like destroying everything. My whole world's collapsed.
Isn't real. What? You know?
Yeah. Well, speaking of what's not real, let's take a look at this eclipse that was faked and take a look at the.
That's really Pac-Man up there, is what it is. I'm looking at Pac-Man, is all it is.
So, did anybody? Speaking of, did anybody watch the fight last night between Money and McConnor?
I actually was stupid enough to do a hangout during the damn thing.
Oh, so okay.
I watched it. I had to. I had to watch it. I had to watch it after.
Okay. All right.
I watched it immediately after. So.
Okay. And I heard it went 10 rounds, and he did technical knockout in the 10th round, I guess.
Yeah. It was pretty apparent from the beginning that Mayweather was playing a game. You know what I'm saying? Like it was. I mean, McGregor was hitting him, but only because Mayweather was putting on a show. I mean, he was.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, it was obvious that he was just doing his typical thing, man. Just and then it came out in the end. You know, he was just letting him wear himself out because he knew that he can't go past 25 minutes. He's never been in a fight past 25 minutes. So and you could see it, man. After that 8th round, it was like a switch. McGregor's legs were just done.
Yeah, kind of reached a point where he just hadn't been there before, so he didn't know what to do. Yeah,
he was done.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's how I got out of championship boxing. I was never good past about 4 or 5 rounds.
Oh man, let me tell you now. I don't know if you've ever had the opportunity to shoot boxing. I have. I've shot boxers. I've shot one amateur event. You know, so all the matches in the event. And then I've been lucky and fortunate enough through connections to shoot one Friday Night Fights event for ESPN. So that was that was super cool. But you know, my nephew was a boxer when I was married.
Okay,
he was a boxer, not a very good one, but he was a boxer. So I got to be around a lot of training, a lot of that sort of thing. And then growing up, I was around a lot of boxers.
Yep. That's a man. You've got to be in shape. I mean, you've got to be fit to be a boxer.
It's insane. I mean, even my nephew that wasn't really what I would, he wasn't, good enough to take it to the next level. He was good enough to get himself there. And then once he had the opportunities, he had 3 different opportunities and he just laid eggs. The pressure. He just laid eggs. But I tell you what, even him, I mean, I would never challenge him in a fight. The way that guy would train was insane. You know what I'm saying? It was it was insane.
Yeah, I imagine that would be fun to shoot a boxing match. I mean, I imagine it would be so much stuff going on. You could probably get some you're relatively close. I mean, if you can get right up against the ring, I mean, you're not more than about 10 feet away from them.
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of times you're actually moving away because they're coming right up against the ropes. And you're constantly juggling from that the bottom 2 ropes. Depending on how tall you are, the bottom
where they're at, how far back.
You're constantly, adjusting there and then moving a step or 2 back, and to get different perspectives. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's because there's just constant action, and then you have those that minute in between rounds where you're looking at your shots and you're able to compose things better and see what you need to do for the next round.
Yeah, I imagine it would be from a photographer standpoint. I've never been a fan of. I've watched some boxing. I've never been like a boxing fan where I'd actually pay to like watch pay-per-view or something like that. But I would imagine as a photographer, if I was there, I could get into boxing. From that, just because of all the action and all the opportunity to get some interesting shots. It's
tons of action. Everybody's willing to get a shot. You're going to get a shot. You're going to get your shot. And it's really colorful. So it's. I mean, it's the
lights are bright, the colors are bright. Yeah, so you just get very high def images basically. Yeah.
So what was and if you can make a relationship with either a trainer or somebody in boxing, then you'll get access to while they're training, which is what I found even more interesting, because a lot of those places are in Albuquerque, that is, I pretty much know that boxing scene fairly well, and you have a lot of trainers that have their own gyms in their backyard, for Christ's sake. Like they build decent sized little gyms just big enough to fit a ring inside of them and some workout equipment. And so you're in these little just big makeshift garages with the ring inside of them, and just they're great for photography. I mean, so now that I think about it, it's actually all our areas have, even where Dennis is at, they all have amateur boxing or some kind of amateur fighting, whether it be UFC or something. And all those cats, man, you can make an arrangement to shoot something if you really
and there's
want.
Probably some real characters there too. I mean, get some interesting people with some stories and that type of stuff. And it's accessible because you're up close. It's not like shooting a game, football or baseball or something like that, where they're 25, 50 yards away or more. The boxing, and you're right there. You're within a few feet.
With this, the wider your lenses that you have in your kit, the better off you are. So it's great. You know what I'm saying? It's great because you can shoot it more than likely with something you already have. So you're not, you're just concentrated on low light. You just need stuff that's fast aperture.
Yeah, so a wide lens with a big aperture. Yeah, like a 2.8, 24 millimeter or something like that. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, cool.
But,
no, that would be interesting. I heard how much money they made. What did they say? Mayweather maybe somewhere between 80 and 100, and McGregor like
30,
something like that.
25 or 30.
So you could buy a couple wide-angle fast lenses for that, I think.
Yeah, but that's nothing in comparison to our person in Massachusetts that won that lottery. Dear God.
700 million?
Like the largest single pay.
No, we don't even know. We don't know. Was it lump sum or annuity? I don't know. I haven't even heard that yet. So I guess the lump sum would be like 400 million lump sum. After taxes, it'd be like 300 million after taxes. Something like that. I think I could get along with 300 million.
I might be able to pay the interest on my mortgage.
Yeah, just barely.
Yeah.
Man, it's crazy.
You get a Big Mac.
Yeah. For the whole town for the rest of your life. Every day for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, I think someone said like if you get it in yearly payments, I think it's like 25 million a year or something, 30 million a year.
That's crazy. Yeah, it really is. Now, speaking of crazy, I think, okay, this is yours from last week, Joe. Did we talk about semis? I think we did did we talk about this one last week? I think we did, yeah. Yeah, I forgot to save it. And then we jump into Eclipse. So I think I posted 10 images here, just kind of progression, but this was the viewing event. So this was a prep school up in the mountains, where you send your kids who are misbehaving, you can send them up here and get them in shape or whatever. But anyway, they took this little town, Rabun Gap, which is up right next to the Tennessee, North Carolina border. It's a nice school, and so they had the event on the football field. You can see they had jumbotrons and all that. We were up on the hill, basically where you see me photographing from. But there's maybe 8,000 or 9,000 people there by the time everybody filled in. So,
what a nice spot, man!
Yeah, it's beautiful. The mountains, and so this is looking east here. We're looking east towards the mountains. And yeah, it's a beautiful part of the state. It really is. Nice green mountains and everything. But
so that's looking east. So the stage is south?
Yeah, the stage is looking south. The sun at this point is basically right here, you know.
Okay.
And then the problem is the sun's moving west. So this was taken at what time was this? 11:30 in the morning, something like that. You know, when we got there. But as the sun was moving, east to west, so the sun was moving back behind me here, basically. But these clouds were building up to the east over the mountains, and they were blowing west. So the sun was moving, and the clouds were building. We're like, oh no, we don't want the sun to get blacked out by the clouds, right? As as you get the totality, but you could just see the clouds. It never rained. It was just humidity and wind and stuff building up.
So is that fog over those mountains there?
This is a real light mist, yeah, and some. I don't have a polarizer on here too, so yeah, this is probably just like the general humidity in the air, basically. It wasn't too bad. It was humid, but it wasn't terrible. It was.
Well, as we speak, it's 110 here. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it wasn't quite that hot. It was maybe 80 to 85 with decent humidity. It was kind of sticky, but not totally unbearable. So, but yeah, it's a beautiful part of the state, and a lot of people up there. Kind of overwhelmed the roads and everything, but it worked out fine. So this is about 11:30, and then I set up the camera, and this is at 1:06, basically what they call first contact. It's the first time that you can see the moon encroaching on the sun, and there it is right there.
Yep.
It's like 15 seconds after, astronomically the eclipse was supposed to start. So this is like 15 seconds into it. But this was through that same filter, but I just took the images and found a color that seemed pretty close to what I was actually seeing. So I just changed the tint and the white balance basically in Lightroom to kind of get it as
close.
Close to what it would look like. So this is like at the beginning of the eclipse. And then this is 9 minutes later. So this is like 1:15. So you can definitely start to see the sun coming in. I mean, the moon coming in.
Now, at what intervals were they letting you know? Okay, this is 10%. This is 5%.
They didn't. I thought they would, but they didn't call out what the percentages were. They just said we're coming up on the start of the eclipse. They called out what they call first contact, which was like right at 1:06. They said officially first contact for our location here is 1:05:53.7. So they calculated it down to like the 10th of a second or something. Right.
Which is good, sure. Yeah.
So they said first contact, and then they kind of came back and said, we're about halfway through or something like that, but they didn't call it like this is 5% or something like that. So I tried to take an image like every 6 to 8 minutes, just depending on what was going on. So this was like 6 or 9 minutes in. I took one at 6, but there wasn't much of a difference between initial. So this was 9 minutes in. This one is 28 minutes in. I took a couple in between, but they weren't much. But this one came out pretty decent. There was a real high, thin layer of clouds, so it kind of took away from the edge, the sharpness on the edge a little bit. But
that looks like something the Cookie Monster got to.
Yeah, and so people are like, hey, it's like Pac-Man. So this is about 28 minutes in, so it's about 1:30. This one is about 45, so it's about 1:50 in the afternoon. This is about halfway through to totality. So whatever, 45, 50% covered maybe. And then this one, and the one thing I didn't adjust, I just moved it until I got the sun in the middle. I didn't like rotate it to keep every perspective. So in reality, the moon's actually coming in this way. But so I didn't rotate the images to keep the orientation the same all the way through.
Oh yeah, okay.
But yeah, this is about an hour in. So whatever that is, maybe 60%, something like that. 70% covered. Is this about what you saw, Wes? Is this kind of about?
Yeah, that looks pretty much about what we saw.
Yeah. So this was about 80 minutes in. So this was about 225. So I estimated about 90% covered here at this point. And you can see the clouds. It was just coming out of the clouds. They were covered for about 10 minutes before this. We couldn't see anything. It was just covered by a
yeah, because I think down here I think they said it was like 76% or 70 some percent.
So you guys probably saw somewhere a little between these two, probably.
Yeah,
is what most of you saw. I figured that was maybe 70. This is 85 to 90%. But yeah.
But actually, I didn't get to see anything because I did post a picture on Instagram.
Yeah, she did totality. It was clouds.
It was the clouds. Yeah, I was standing in the shadow. I was definitely in the shadow.
So yeah, this was, what time did I take this? I think my clock on the camera was pretty close. This was taken at 2:28. So 8 or 9 minutes before totality started. So, but yeah, you could see which was kind of cool. It kind of hurt ultimate sharpness of the image, but it was kind of cool to have that little bit of cloud cover. It made it a little more interesting. So here we are. This is maybe a minute or so before totality. So this is like 95, 98%. This is about what, if you're in downtown Atlanta, or if I went out in the backyard here, this is about what we would have seen. And so this was, what was the time on this? This was, 2:32. So a minute and a half or so before totality. So the last little bit. And then, and this is right after totality, maybe 10 seconds or, something like that. And there was a little bit of cloud cover so that, I didn't get, it's kind of blurred, you can see the clouds there. But what was cool, and I didn't notice it until I got it into Lightroom, was here's a star right there.
Now, was that a star or a planet?
I think that was a star. There was a planet over here. I think it was Jupiter or something that was out of the frame. There were supposedly 4 planets you could see. Now, we couldn't see the whole. There was some clouds, spotty clouds, so there was some stuff that was getting blocked out. But you can't really see it here, but it has a little bit of a 3D effect.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
that was the most amazing thing. And then the light right before this. So right when you were in this last little bit here, that's when the actual light hitting the Earth dropped you were able to perceive the light going down. The crickets started chirping, and then at this point though, the light around you was almost like a blue, like pastel blue color. It was really, really weird. It was like you're in the middle of a big pastel blue painting or something. It was really, really bizarre. And everybody was like the same thing. I looked around, people were like, yeah, this light is really, it's kind of just like dreamy kind of thing. So this is like right after totality. And then this is about halfway through maybe. And
did you have the filter off, or is the filter still on?
No, the filter was, when you're in totality, you couldn't see anything with the filter. So if you had, when it went into totality, this is no brighter than like a half moon. I mean, it was, a little bit of light, but not bright. So if you had your glasses on or filter, you wouldn't have been able to see any of this because it blocks out. So you were able to remove your glasses. And when it did go in totality, they did announce, okay, you can remove your glasses. And then you were just able to sit, just naked eye, just look at it. But what's interesting here is you can see these little,
that's what I was looking at.
Like little solar flares coming out, peeking out from around the around there. And if you look at images from across the country, you see these. You're kind of in the same general position. If I would have rotated the image to be the way it was, it would have been like up here, and down here. But people were talking about three prominences coming out, and you can see how it affects the corona. So that was kind of cool. And then this is right at the end of totality. So the moon's moving across this way. This is the last little flash of light. They call it the diamond ring flash. And it looks kind of like a diamond ring. You got this real bright, and then you got this ring. But this is the sun just be able to shoot through the canyons on the surface of the moon. So it kind of disperses the light and gives it a like a flash. So, but you can see there was a lot of clouds around here still, which was cool it's actually kind of interesting from a photographic too, because it gives a little bit of detail, but it the sharpness, and there's a little bit of, you can see a little bit of like reflection off the clouds. There's like a little double ring I have around the image, like right there, that type of thing. But this was like the last couple seconds of totality. Right after this, then you have to put your glass, put the filter back on, or the eclipse, your viewing glasses back on, because you can actually get the sun coming back out again. So, but yeah, 2 minutes and 38 seconds of totality. So yeah, and it was just cool. It was long enough to actually like stare at this and get an idea what that is, but then also just kind of take in what was going on around you too. So, which was almost as interesting. To see the way the light was, the way the people were reacting, and all that. So, very cool. Definitely recommend if guys have the ability to be in totality in 2024, do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
Yeah. So this is Silver Springs. So this is, I saw on Facebook, this was your first state park checked off on your passport. Is that right?
Yeah, this is the first one. So
is this down near Ocala?
73 to go. Yeah, it's
that's kind of cool. The color in that water is great.
Yeah, it's crystal clear Florida spring water.
Spring fed. Okay.
Yeah, this is where some James Bond movies were filmed here. Creature from the Black Lagoon, some Tarzan movies. They used to use it for a lot of underwater.
Okay. Because the water was so clear. Okay.
The 40s, 50s, 60s kind of thing.
Oh, okay. So how deep is it in the middle?
That I don't know. It's probably like 60 or 70 feet.
It looks like it's pretty deep. Yeah.
Oh, you just used your phone for this?
Yeah. I wasn't even planning on going here, but we had some time to kill. I'm like, let's just go over there for a little while. Since I got my annual pass, now I can get in for free.
Yeah.
Was this multiple images? Did you stitch it?
I just used the pano feature in the camera.
Oh, okay. You know, I've tried it a few times now on some, to get panels of some of the sunrises that I shoot, and it does a decent job. It's a little tough trying to follow the arrow, but it does a decent job.
So this is how many shots? It automatically stitched everything together, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like one shot, but you're just like turning.
Oh, okay. You turn the camera as you shoot. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, it gives you like an arrow mark, and then if you're following a line.
Okay.
So sometimes you got the arrow, and then the line is like, so you're trying to keep the camera.
So it gives you like a little guideline that you're supposed to keep the. It's like keep the ball. It's like when the pilots are trying to land on the bouncing ship in the middle of the ocean. They got to keep their eye on the ball, basically, and along. Okay, well, that's pretty good. I mean, you can tell it's a little distorted, but it's pretty cool. Yeah. It's a neat effect. Yeah, it's a pretty area.
I like it.
Yep. Ooh. This is from the visit. So this last image you were over there, basically.
Yeah, it's from the other side, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you can definitely see into the water. That's.
It's pretty unfortunate too, because you really can't do this in black and white, can you? I mean, it has to be color.
Yeah, and you could, but it just wouldn't be the same.
It's not gonna. Yeah, you have to really see it in color.
Yeah, because I think a lot of what the image is like the water and the clarity of the water and the colors and all this stuff.
The different you would catch some of the tones, but not really. It wouldn't translate to because it's very nice in color. So it's
Hey, really hope you're doing well. Good. So you pop in here.
Hey guys.
How's it going?
Good.
Good. Glad you could join. It's
glad I could make it.
Yeah. Cool. That's a neat. So how many more to go, Wes? 170 or something like that?
Yeah, 173 parks.
Oh, okay.
You're seriously trying to hit them all, or is that sarcasm?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm serious about it, but I'm gonna try to go to a lot of them.
Yeah. Okay. It might just be like the rest of your life sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a long-term project kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's all the parks.
That's a lot of state parks. Now, Florida's a pretty big state, but 173 state parks. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's a lot. Yeah. Like, oh, here's a piece of green space. Well, no, let's call it a park. We'll call it a park. We'll call it a state park.
And out this way, it's even worse because you can't tell one from the other. I mean, there is, some of them is just, big plots of desert.
So here we go. Okay, so it's taken on Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
There's some nice clouds there. That's neat. The clouds kind of mimic the mountains. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's a neat pattern there. I like that.
Very golden.
Mm-hmm. That's very cool. Here you go, Dennis. The obligatory North Korean nuclear test off in the distance.
That makes me think about what you were saying about the diamond, because the mountains cover like the moon does the sun in the morning, and it does a similar thing when
probably the same type of thing. The light hits it and it gets bent or diffracted by the rocks and whatever. It's probably the same type of effect. Yeah.
Because I can't let it get too much farther past what you're talking about, that diamond. I can't let it get too much past that before my iPhone, at least. I don't know, maybe Wes is better at it, but my iPhone won't. Too much sun, boy, and it just really looks like a bomb.
Yeah. Just it all gets blown out really quick. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, that's a tough thing to capture. It's so bright, such a huge range. Yeah, that's neat. Ooh, I like this one. These clouds are cool. In the foreground here, the top of the image.
It's like somebody threw some sand up in the air or something. Salt or something. It's cool.
Yeah. It is so tough because the sunrise now is getting later in the morning, and so I'm easily hitting my same spot. So when I don't get many clouds like this, I mean, it could just be a redundant image. It could look like he just posted the same image from yesterday.
Yeah.
So
that's where clouds make all the difference.
This is actually a kind of pretty darn close into Phoenix right here at this point, and I'm just on another exit ramp. And that's all it is. So you're.
Yeah. Ooh, wow. That's neat. I like the sun coming through the clouds there.
I like the way the rays will come through. So when it's dusty, and sometimes the way the sun comes over that mountain, and then the clouds are in a particular way, and it's windy, in the climate above, then you'll get these rays coming through.
Yeah, I mean, you can see 1, 2, 3. I mean, you can just see them all the way around. It's neat, and they're all like right in here. I mean, they're very distinct, which is neat. Alternating, just how the light's reflecting off the dust in the air or whatever.
Yeah, and see these images like this this is when I can get parked in that one area. And so I'm able to not have to take it through the windshield, so I can actually, I'm
outside of the truck. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, no, that's neat. I really like the rays on that one. That's neat. Very cool.
With the highlights all the way out.
No highlights.
No highlights.
Yeah.
There we go. We got the small mushroom cloud. Just the beginning of the mushroom cloud coming up.
Yeah. You can see the challenge when there's no
Same spot
clouds.
next day. Yeah, I mean, so this is 2 days later, basically.
Yep. It's the same exact spot. Yeah,
it is. Huh? Look at that. There's the mountain. Yep, same mountain. Yeah, and there's no clouds in the sky. So there you go. Yeah. Which one do you like better? Probably that one.
Right.
Yeah, it's amazing just how the clouds. How it makes it.
So I got the because like I said, I can't get too much more past that. Otherwise, so you see the effect. The sun's in about the same area. I'm in the same spot. It's kind of one thing I like about being in the same spot is it just gives you, okay, now this is just trying to get the sun the same way in the same spot, and what a difference the clouds make, or dust in the air, or something.
Like that. Yeah, this is perfectly clear. I mean, there are no clouds in the sky in this one. So yeah.
So the only difference would be that with that one you're looking at now, I'm able to shoot it a few minutes later into the morning versus when there's no clouds. I'm trying to catch that sucker
right before.
I mean, literally when it's still kind of dark to get any sort of drama out of it.
Yeah, you got to get it right before it peaks over the top of the mountain. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean it's a challenge to get them to come out and get decent ones. Yeah, but that's actually, I think that's one of your better sunrise shots in a while, just because of the way the clouds were in the rays and everything.
The rays really added something to it.
Yeah, very cool. Cool. So, Rui, have we seen any? I know you've been posting some videos of bike rides. Should I go over to see what Rui's channel is? Let's see. Any? I saw your flat tire, Rui.
I heard my name. Sorry, I wasn't here.
Yeah.
I was just like, bummer.
Yeah. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to change the tire? How long did it take you to change your flat tire?
5 minutes.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Wow, that's pretty good.
And I had a spare.
That's nice. Yeah.
I've sit and go to work.
Seems like if you ride a bike as much as he does, he's got to be used to flat tires.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I've ridden. I mean, all the road riding. You were riding on trails, so I mean, you have a little bit more of a chance. But riding on the road, I was really lucky. I mean, probably in 20 or 30,000 miles of riding I did over, say 10 years or whatever, I only got like 2 flats, which is really really unusual. Yeah. And I never crashed either, which was even luckier. I had no road rash. And I know I crashed in like a little tiny race, but not riding on the roads, like actually riding with all the cars and everything. So yeah, I figured I don't ride that much anymore, so I figured I got out when the getting was good.
Everybody that I know that rides, even just recreationally, that rides, have crashed. And the guys that I know that ride seriously, like Rui, have been out of work multiple times. They've gotten injured so bad.
It was just dumb luck on my part. There were 2 or 3 occasions where I probably by all rights should have gone down, but I just wiggled the bike one way at the right time and avoided going down. I mean, it's just, I was very fortunate. But I was in lots of rides where people around me, the car would clip or somebody would hit a rock and go down, and I would steer and avoid them and just barely miss going down. Yeah, it's not fun.
No. I had one friend, well, an acquaintance really. I mean, just kind of knew him through another friend at work. But they rode really seriously, and he died in a race in Taos.
Wow. Yeah.
Up and down hills and all that, and he actually died in that wreck.
Yeah. I knew a guy in Chicago. I was racing up there. It was a couple years later when we were down here, but I heard that he was in a race, and how they have the they got the telephone pole, and then they have the guy wires that go down to stabilize. He went off the course and through the guy wire, and it literally pretty much just decapitated him. Yeah. A young guy. He was like 23, 24 years old, just an amateur, like a little circuit race in a business park, like an industrial park. And he got pushed off and he hit the wrong spot and just literally pretty much, I was like, okay, I think I'm done racing.
Yeah.
Don't really need to do that.
Wrong time, huh? Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's like, looks like, and it's fun, but man, it's dangerous. I mean, it's dangerous. Imagine riding around, falling off your, a moving vehicle at 30 miles an hour in your underwear. That's pretty much what it feels like crashing. Not something you want to do.
Yeah.
So, well, good show, guys. We can't talk about the eclipse for 7 more years, so just mark it on your calendars.
Yeah.
I'm literally going to start planning that in about 2 years out. I'm going to figure out where we're at and where we want to go, the time of the year, and I'll start researching the weather, and then I'll find a place, somewhere along the route, and then get a hotel room way ahead of time.
Well, I heard of people planning trips to Chile already, man.
Is there another one down there? Is that the next one?
2019, I think. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think they're planning trips to the mountains of Chile. Good luck.
Probably actually be a really good place to do it because it's a desert there. I mean, it's really dry. You're at high altitude, so there's probably not as much crap in the air. Atmosphere.
I think it just depends, but down there they get earthquakes and stuff, so you got all kinds of stuff to.
It'd be like a double feature: get an earthquake and an eclipse all at the same time. It would mess up your images, though. If you're at an earthquake, how are you going to stabilize your tripod to photograph the eclipse if you're in the middle of an earthquake? I mean,
it could really, yeah. So, that could be interesting. I mean, but I've heard of some people planning trips to Chile. There are people going to Chile on vacation anyway. So you're like, okay, well, why not we just plan a trip to Chile? For the eclipse,
Compared to other parts of the world, it's relatively easy to access that from here. I mean, it's not a crazy long flight and that type of thing.
I don't know what the timeline would be as far as when it's going to be down there in 19, but I mean, it could be freezing too. So
yeah, it just depends what time of year it is. Yeah, because it's out, the mountains there. I mean, you're up in the Andes. I mean, if you want to get up in the air, you can go way up there. 8 or 9, 10,000 feet up, and if it's the winter, it'd still be probably a little chilly. Yeah, that would be fun. My parents have been to Chile, and I've had some friends that have been there, and they said it was pretty cool. People have gone to like Easter Island and that type of stuff. I mean, that's all kind of in that same area. It's pretty cool. But no, I think I'll just drive to maybe Decatur. I think in 2024. I think that'd be a good place. That's like a 1-day drive. I can get there in 6 hours, 8 hours. Set up my tent and photograph the eclipse, I guess. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Hey, appreciate it. Rui, Dennis, appreciate you guys staying up late. Don't, if you get yelled at tomorrow, Rui, at work for falling asleep on the job, don't blame us.
No worries.
Okay. Appreciate you showing up. How's Charlie doing?
He's fine. He's getting bigger.
Was he about 3 or 4 years old now, isn't he?
4.
Okay. Yeah, we're considering getting a dog, so we're gonna have that discussion over this next week as we're spending a lot of time in the car together. So him and I are going to be doing a dog discussion this week. Try to find out. Is he a lab, right? Is he a golden lab? Okay.
Yeah.
Lots of fur though, right? Lots of shedding. Huh?
Lots of shedding. And it's terrible. You vacuum during the whole day, and then the next day it's basically the same thing.
It's like you didn't do anything the day before. Yeah. Okay. But they're great dogs. I've got friends that have labs, and they're fantastic, fantastically loyal, and totally friendly, and all that. Yeah.
That little min pin that we had when I was still married was okay. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just glad not to have any more animals, man. They're fun, but they do. I mean, we have cats, so they're kind of low maintenance. They can get along by themselves pretty good. You just show up, if you're going away, you can just have someone show up for 10 minutes a day and clean out the litter box and feed them, and they're pretty good. But the dogs, you really can't do that. You've got to either board them or take them with you wherever you go. So,
Yeah, but we might end up with a dog here this fall. We'll see.
Adopt.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
there's so many out there too. I mean, all the rescue groups. There's pretty much a rescue group for pretty much any breed you want. There's a rescue group for them. So we've got to decide if we want to get one, and then if so, which one, and then when. Probably be September.
There's a couple of guys at work that I overheard were having this pretty serious conversation about, getting these animals, and they're $2,500 and $3,000 for a dog. I'm like,
no.
What are you out of your mind? I've never paid over $100.
$250 or $300. That's my price range for a dog.
Man, I've never paid over $100 for a dog.
No. I mean, there's so many out there, and there's so many rescue groups and shelters, and one of the ones we're looking at is a greyhound, which I think would be a pretty cool dog. But you can get those from greyhound rescue groups. The dogs are former track racers or whatever. So you can get a couple $100. You get a dog that's got all the shots and the chip and all that stuff. And but we had a friend of one got a purebred. What kind of dog is it? It's some kind of retriever. It's like some northern Canadian retriever breed or whatever. But they had to go to a breeder, and I didn't ask him what he paid, but I'm sure it was more than $1,000 for a puppy. For this dog a few weeks ago, and it's a great dog, but man, I don't know if it's that great for that much money. So anyway, no show next week. We'll be on the road, but we will have a show on Sunday the 10th. So hopefully I have some images from our circle trip up to Chicago and back. At least some digital stuff. I'm hopefully get some film, some large format stuff, but I don't think I'll have anything developed by then. So I know I won't, because we won't get back until the day before the show. So, but yeah, no show next week. So everybody have a good Labor Day weekend here in the States. Dennis, have a good bank holiday tomorrow. Another week of Sundays for you, I'm sure. So
yeah, I'll get by it, and I expect Wes will be taking that last shot of his in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm saving it for the next eclipse.
Yeah.
I hear it's always better to photograph eclipse on expired film. So 7 to 8 years expired is usually prime for eclipse. So
nicely aged.
It just adds more effect to the shot.
Right. So you got a lot of weekends of asking Dennis. It's like another 300 questions before he's actually going to use that frame.
Well, I know one of these days he's going to surprise us and go, "Hey, look, I had it developed. It's all done."
It's just going to appear. There are like 15 images. All of them are going to be great shots, and they're just all going to be posted.
And that last image will be of like his shoes.
I was getting the camera out, and I accidentally hit the shutter button. Look how great it is. Look at the colors, the vivid colors from film that you only get with film.
How crisp! I mean, just so crisp. Yeah.
Hey, it's art. It's art. You gotta suffer for your art sometimes.
These really, just this amazing shot of my chucks. You know what I'm saying?
A new perspective on the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys. Have a great week, or a great 2 weeks. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Rui, appreciate it. Dennis, as always. Joe, stay cool.
Right, peace.
And Wes, so we want a few more parks checked off the list by 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
Okay. See you guys later. Take care.
All right.
Cheers. Bye.